Good morning. Hello. Anyway, I'm super excited because we just wrapped up producing episode 2 with Ariadni Hind. Shout out to the Play Space. We are talking about toddlers, tantrums, how they show up, big feelings, timeouts, when to do a timeout, how to have fun as a new parent if this is a first time space for you like me. It's not easy, and you have to figure out the game, figure out your routine. Are you a routine parent? Well, we're kind of team routine, and we're talking a bit about why. So if you're interested in the routine and you have a bit of fear about how living by your toddler's beck and call can be a bit scary in this chapter, listen, let me know what you think. I'm so excited. And comment, share, subscribe. I want to hear from you. Mwah. Hey, what's up, y'all? Today I am with my friend and life changer Ariadni, and also known Auntie as is the owner and principal of the Play Space. I found the Play Space recommended by a few of good friends who, when I heard, they were like, if Anya's starting school, she's going to the Play Space. You are in Westville. It's right up the area, like up the road. And it was life-changing. And I also did my homework on the internet, and it's only nice things to say about the Play Space. And then you go into their social media. Are you only on Instagram? Yeah. Instagram's the old people. The content is so authentic, and you just get a really good, heartwarming feel about what you're going to leave your kid in. And as first-time mommy, that's the hardest thing to do, I think, to leave your baby with people you don't know. And for like the whole day, I came in with instructions or like, this is how she is. I don't know if on a level of 1 to 10 of how much pedanticness I had. No. But I felt very calm to leave my kid with you and Auntie Mel. So welcome. Thank you for doing this with me today. I'm so excited because I feel like since I became a mom, all I want to do is chat about my daughter. It's natural. Okay, so before we get into our chat, which we wanted to talk today about toddlers and tantrums, because like I've moved to Joburg now, and I just miss having that soundboard of, am I doing the right thing? And I figured there are a lot of moms out there who are also kind of like, how on earth do we handle this? Who's in charge? And what do we do?
It's very blurry. It's a very blurry season. Toddlers.
So just tell me about the Play Space, where you guys are at now, how many years it's been, and why I feel so strong about you. There's a reason, right? So just brag a little bit about it.
Oh, not good at bragging about it. But so I opened the Play Space 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So after having another business, which was a parent-child workshop kind of business, COVID hit, and then that wasn't going to work because you had to run it with like small numbers and do social distancing, which doesn't work with babies and moms. Mm-hmm. They all want to touch each other. So that wasn't going to work. So I closed that business, and then 6 months later decided to open the Play Space because I had the space, and I had the clientele that were looking for a school for their children. So the Play Space is primarily a creche, I suppose. It's for children from 18 months to 3, and then they can stay the whole year that they're 3. I work with the most amazing lady called Mel Hatch. Poached her from a school that we both used to work at. And it's just such a happy space. I never thought I would teach such tiny children again. I used to teach grade R's for a long time before that. Well, before I had the parent-child thing. And yeah, just loved being in the space. And I think being able to like have kids to yourselves again, like being able to teach them without parents there has also just been so rewarding. That like them learning stuff is also on you. Like that they arrive and they like don't know even how to talk, some of them, and then within a couple of weeks they're saying stuff and they're counting, and you get to be part of that, which is very cool.
Yeah, I think that's what I picked up with you when I joined was you, first of all, you have 3 kids.
Yeah.
3 girls. And first time parenting is so wild because you don't know what you're doing. And as you go through it, you're like, newborn that was pretty easy, or like this is a bit more challenging. And I think your confidence comes in with the play space because it is for what it is. At that age, the kids really just need to play and need like boundaries and regulations, like a good foundation. But yeah, I can see it with you. Like you kind of just, I've been there, I've done this 3 times, and it's just such a like honor to impose that knowledge on like other people's little intros to the world. And that's just why like I trust in the chat that we're gonna have.
Thanks.
Yeah, so basically I miss you and Auntie Mel so much because my daughter's 3 now and we are in the toddler
zone.
Yeah, we're deep there and we're dealing with things. And just for first time parents who are like, because the toddler world, what age does that start?
So like by the book, it's like 18 months. So 18 months to 3 is like your toddler years.
I felt it at 2, kind of.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's really when it kicks in.
Yeah.
Properly.
Yeah.
Full steam ahead, really.
And at that point, it's just a very scary part of the journey because sometimes your kid still has broken sleep, they're still in diapers, bottles are in the picture,
feeling,
but now they have emotions and feelings, and you have to be present when you're tired as well. So for the first time, like parents who are about to join this chapter or who are unaware, how do tantrums show up?
So I've got 3 daughters, and it varies. So my friends that have boys, boys tend to tantrum a little bit later than girls. I don't know if they're not as verbal as girls, like generally. I mean, it's not always the case, but generally tantrums will come up with screaming, shouting, flinging yourself on the floor. Those are fun when they just like become like spaghetti, like a puddle that they just collapse and melt on the floor, or they just stiffen themselves. And so it's really just, I think resistance is the best way to describe what a tantrum is. It's their first thing is that they start to resist, and how that kind of transpires is different for each kid. So, some kids are louder than others. Mine were loud. I've got Greek children. They are very loud. They were all loud tantrumers.
I think maybe Anya was about 2 and a bit, and I took her to an intimate wedding. It were like 15 people. It was at a home, and I've never seen this lighter, but because I'm quite like snack controlled. And she saw a little chocolate on the table and she had one, and we sat down. I was like, remember, be a good girl now. This wedding is starting, and then they're going to talk and we're going to listen. And then we'll move into like snacks and things. She leans over and says, if you don't get me another chocolate, I'm going to scream. And then I was like,
she could smell the weakness.
And literally it was mid their vows where she was like, I'm not going to listen and I'm going to be loud. And she keeps saying, I'm going to be loud. And she's whispering, like, I've never been threatened by someone so cute.
That's crazy.
In that moment, I got up and I took her to get the chocolate. Like,
you pick your battle.
I mean, that's someone's special day.
Yeah. No. I feel like you did the right thing in that moment.
But
talk about it later. Like, that wasn't the time to start a full-on war with your child.
Yeah, but we've come a long way since. there are tools and stuff that I use,
Yeah.
like ways to handle it, but everyone's different. So I wanted to know like how you would lead with like handling tantrums, like things to do. Like
Yeah.
one of my main things that I just try and impose is I say, I'm sorry, I'm really sorry that you're upset, but
Yeah.
let's I'm gonna let you have your feelings and I'm here when you need me.
Yeah.
That works for me because yes, so she takes a breather and I find that helps because I also like her to regulate her feelings. But
Yeah.
because you have so much experience and with tantrums and every kid is different, do you want to tell us a little bit about any tools or methods that you find very helpful for this?
So it's different for each kid. So even with my own three, I've had to do different things
Okay.
for all of them because each child is different and what
Yeah.
they respond to it will vary. So the same with like Anya, how she is very emotionally in tune. It sounds like she can reason with you a bit more. But I think before you even get into the tantrum space, it's important beforehand to have had discussions about what are your like strategies to like use before you get into that space. What are your rules? Like your rules, these are like, they sound so hectic, these words, but they're important.
Like guidelines.
Yeah, like
basically.
your
Like,
guidelines, your boundaries, and then what are the consequences before you get into that space. So when your toddler starts to drop and shout no and scream at you, you already feel a little bit empowered, like, okay, this is kind of what I said I'm going to do. Like, I'm going to count to 3. You know, I'm counting to 3, and if you haven't calmed down or whatever, this is what's going to happen next or whatever. So you kind of have an idea beforehand and you've discussed it with all the parties involved. This is important. Like, so whether it's your spouse, your partner, and anyone that looks after your kids. So grandparents, caregivers,
amen.
whoever you have given like that kind of authority in your child's life have to kind of be on the same page because kids are so clever. They will sniff out who it's different with.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm going to interrupt because
No, go for it.
what happens when there's a party not involved on board?
Well, it just starts a bit of, the kids can see that there's a bit of a weak point. And then it sounds hectic, but they can learn to be manipulative in that. And so mom says no, but dad says yes. So what are we going to do? And the next thing, mom and dad are fighting and then no one's dealing with the tantrum and the kid's gotten away with it. So, you know, and it's that space is quite tricky to navigate if you haven't discussed beforehand. So it just takes the stress out of it. And also because it is stressful in those moments when your kid is screaming, you know, especially as a first time parent, the first time you dealing with it. It's like my first kid, she could scream and she didn't care that we were in Woolies, the Westville Mall, at a party, swimming lesson. She would scream and I would just start sweating, like, because I'm a teacher. I don't like being in public, like with my kid, like embarrassing me, you know, and I felt so on the spot. And
so
you know,
what did you do when she'd scream in public?
So
counting to 3 is one.
So so counting to 3, but I mean, I really went and did a course on toddler, like how to deal with toddlers. We called the Toddler Transition. It was brilliant.
Nice.
But yeah, learning to count to 3, so they have a bit of a warning system. So count to 3. It also helps you take a deep breath. Counting to 3, and then follow through once you've done counting to 3.
Yes. And
the follow through was generally time out. And that time out was just time to move away, to just stop. Stop. Let's just pause. Time out could be anywhere with my kid. It wasn't just, you know, because we were out and about. I wasn't always home. Or, you know, it's the same thing at school. If we do time out is anywhere because
I just realized, like we were saying, I haven't done a time out with
yeah.
Anya, but essentially we do.
Yeah.
So it's just a different way, I think, of figuring out like how to word that consequence to your kid.
Yeah.
With Anya, who, if she's not in control, she's literally gonna feel betrayed. So I let her take the moment instead of being
Yeah.
like, you are sitting here because you're not playing the game.
Yeah.
Like, go sit there, take a
Yeah.
moment, breathe, and then get
Yes.
back to me when you're ready.
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
so it's a little bit, so I differ in that
Oh.
it's like so I think that toddlers, their emotions are so big.
Mhm.
Like they do have big
teach me.
feelings.
Don't worry, my way's not it for
Their-
everything.
Their feelings are so massive and they don't have control of them yet.
Yeah.
They're still learning self-control. They still like don't know how to like place them. There's so much going on. They're just like learning how to speak, how to express themselves. That's why they start shouting, is because they're trying to tell you something, but they don't know how. So
Heard, yeah.
so they need to have that pause, like the timeout pause thing is to stop. But my feeling is that you have to like be in control of that. Like you are having a timeout because I have said you need to stop. I am taking control. I'm taking that off you. You actually can't decide for yourself now because we will live in like a Dr. Seuss book where the world is upside down if you have to decide what is right for you. And I think that is the difference in a lot of when I told you that I don't necessarily prescribe to like a lot of today's like parenting stuff. It's like
vibes.
Well, it's also just so child-centered, but I think that's so stressful for children. Like that we've taken.
I need to know what's going on.
Yeah, like we've just put so much on them that they must now know like when they're ready. Like they don't always know because they are little.
Yeah.
They don't know how to process that. And it's our job as parents to like help them learn that, help them discern that while they don't really have the tools yet. They're still learning. So it's like, babe, I can see you're losing it. We're stopping now. You're having timeouts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I know you don't want to. They don't always want, well, 90% of the time, they don't want to, but you have to stop now. Like, it's timeout time. And they stop. And a lot of people say time in, you must sit in with them in that. I don't believe that you must sit with them in that moment. You can be nearby, but they need to sit.
I mean,
chill.
Yeah. I don't also want to sit by.
No.
I feel like it's a great opportunity. And I just feel like there's a lot of like with mom guilt, especially you want to sit with them and hold their hand through the hard moment, but you're not leaving the house or the room or putting them in the mall and kicking down.
No.
Literally like, I also think I could breathe in this moment.
Yes, like, which is necessary. So you're okay.
Like,
I'm not leaving you.
Bullets out there.
Yeah, 100%. Everyone needs a little bit of space.
Yeah.
Leave them. 1 minute per year of life is generally the rule. Some kids need a little bit more. My second kid, she's like a little firecracker. She needed a little bit longer. She loud. Like,
so Anya's would be 3 minutes of timeout right now.
Yeah.
It's not that long.
It's not that long. Maybe she would need less. Some kids, the stronger willed kids, will be like, I'm done. Can I come out now? So, and then you can either, if they're more verbal, say, well, are you ready to chat about it?
Okay.
And if you can hear there's still a little bit of like, yeah, or like, no, then I think you need another minute. But the whole thing is for the parent to actually be in control of that.
Yes.
It is not for them to dictate that moment. Like we're trying to teach them something in that time. Tantruming is like, we're not encouraging tantruming. We're encouraging them to learn to deal with their feelings, but we are guiding them because they don't know how to do it.
No.
They don't know. They don't have self-control yet. They're completely uninhibited, like, and big feelings are great, but you can't just be governed by big feelings like all the time. Like we just can't. Like I said, we'd live in a Dr. Seuss novel. It would be crazy. So
I did hear something interesting about this topic. It kind of said that a child's brain, like I'm a 37-year-old woman, I need to, and it's so crazy how it's so instinctual for us. Like we're in this fight mode, like my kid is fighting with me. That's how we take a meltdown or a tantrum.
Yeah.
And you start sweating and you just kind of like, there's been many times I'll be like, stop, like I get like you raise your voice a little bit, or you like trying to like argue reason in those
No, and they can't reason until over 3,
but
actually.
it's understandable for them.
Yeah.
But we as the adults need to have more of a regulated approach to these meltdowns, and because they're still learning, and there's no point both of us getting upset.
No, which is why they're like, decide beforehand what your strategy is. That helps you.
Yeah, really need to.
Yeah, and everyone being on the same page. There have been times when like Trevor and I like had not discussed things, and I'll be honest, he would like have walked out of our kids' rooms like having like disciplined them, and I'm like, well, but we didn't agree on that, or like because we weren't on the same page, and then we had to have some discussions like, okay, for that's important. What are the rules? Like, okay, this is what we do next time. So it's
open to learn on the job as
completely,
well, and you can't have the blueprint of the rules and regulations going in.
And you learn like, so having a toddler really only became real for me when I had my second kid. First kid was it was okay until I added a second kid in the mix, and then there's someone to play off your parents off, like it's the dynamic shift a little bit. So, and then you learn by the third kid, you think that you've got it down, but then you like, oh, it's my baby.
So, like you were saying with your first daughter, she would be like public didn't give her a sense of like I need to tone this down. So meltdowns happen. You have the experience. I am a big like with the experience. I just noticed overstimulation, like planning a full adult day for my daughter. It can just throw the game completely. And so I guess my question is, especially with first-time parents, I think parents with multiple kids have it down a bit more, because also
you have no choice.
Yeah, you have no choice, and you're already entertaining the one kid and the other kid jumps on board. But with first-time parents, it's a very hard line to navigate of like what we can do that's fun for me, but how do I tone it down and stay in the lines for my child? Yeah.
So it's definitely the hardest with the first kid, because you're also trying to figure it out, and you're like, oh, let's hang out.
And it's like, I like fun to hang out with. She likes spur. Do you know what I mean? It's very different.
Yeah, it is. But I think, so I had to learn that the hard way too, because I would fetch my daughter from school. At that stage, she was at the same school as me where I was working. And we would leave school, and I would think, this is so great. Let's go and do something cool, like go out for lunch and we would go to the shops, and she would just spiral completely. And I was like, but I need to do this. And, I want to do this and try on this dress and Woolies. And she would just
want to live a little
be like a monster. And then I'm trying to time her out at the pillars at Pavilion, like putting her there, timing out, and she's screaming. And
you're like, it's all
I'm trying to calm and like, it's okay. You can scream it out, and trying to, be this super mom. But actually, I spoke to someone older and wiser, and she was like, what are you doing? She is a toddler. She needs sleep.
Go home, girl.
Go home. Your kid needs to go home after school, have some lunch, sleep at home, like a quick lunch, sleep, then go out in the afternoon, do something cool later with her. They need routine. So there, I would tell you, so toddlers, they need routine. And that is how you have a life.
Yeah.
And as much as people think that routine is like this thing that's going to like hold them back.
Rigid is the word.
Oh, it's rigid. It's not. Routine is life-giving, because you know the space that you can work within to have a life for you and to have fun for them. And it's like parents always ask us, how do you get kids to do this at school? And, to listen so well and to just go with the flow so easily. But it's because schools are routine and predictable. So it's the same thing every day. So if you fetch your kid from school, your toddler, you have lunch at home. So I would like take my kid home, have lunch with them. They would nap.
I mean, I obviously follow this because that's exactly what I would do with Anya. But the way I saw it when she used to come to school, to the play space, I'd be like, after the play space, you've played your life out.
Yeah.
I understand that morning time was my time.
Yeah.
Now, whether it was work or a day off.
Yeah.
But we always, like, even I made it a thing. If I still had more stuff to do, then you're going to be dropped off with like your granny or
Yeah.
your nanny, and we'll move forward with that. I've just never been floored by the routine. And I think like it gives me so much peace. And what people struggle with it is it's not that you're sacrificing free living,
No.
but it's more like how we would do it is in the morning, like we wake up, and I've noticed with Anya, she likes jammy time and like sitting at home, lazing about, human stuff. And like, when you think about it like rationally, who doesn't want to do that on a slow morning?
Well, you can.
And then the second, while she's slow morning, I'm having my shower, cleaning my home, and then I'm ready to be like, okay, this is what the fun thing is that I want to do. Because I want to get like groceries or makeup, and and then she's like, okay, I want to do this. I need slime. And I was like, cool, add it to the list. So we're going to go get some makeup, groceries, and slime.
Cool.
And she feels included in our little.
So she's had a bit of a like.
Always inclusion is like so important to me. And I wonder if I overdo it sometimes.
Well, within reason. That's the next thing. Within reason. Yeah. If it's something you can include in the day, great. By all means, include it in the day.
It's a level of spoiling as well, which is a deeper thing.
Yeah. But if it's something you're offering and it's something on the table that you're happy with, then that's fun.
Yeah, I like to keep it to something that we're going to take home and do for that downtime.
Yeah.
So I almost lead it into, but sometimes I feel like I'm literally planning like our lives to be like we're the stars of this show.
Yeah. But it's a fine line. And I think it's obviously is easier when you have one kid to when you have three. And it changes with each season. Like my kids now are in senior primary and high school. Like it's very different.
They don't want
time to go and do something even just special with one of them at a time.
Or they each want to do something different.
Yeah, it's seasonal as well. So
time juggling and crazy.
And again, you can't always do what they want to do, and they have to learn that too. Like if
that's what I'm learning.
Not an option, they're not going to die if they can't make slime today. It's like
that's
sometimes it's no,
and it's okay. Because that's what I wanted to deeply talk to you and Mel about. It's something we're experiencing is Anya is so good at negotiating. I find it here's the rock in the hard place. It's so cute, and as a mom, you're so proud. Like, look at your skill. Look at your comeback. You snap you this, and I want to give you this, but I'm like, don't argue with me, and I don't want to be like my parents or their parents and be like, what I say goes.
Yeah.
But is that how you have to do it?
No.
Okay.
So no, there's an in-between.
Okay.
There is an in-between. So it is very cute. And so when they can start talking, so this is the beautiful thing about toddlers. So I think it's the most difficult age in some ways because they are pushing boundaries and, they start the tantrums and all of that stuff, and they're cutting all the ugly teeth, and it's a little bit of broken sleep, and there's a lot of new stuff in that stage. But it's beautiful because there's so much learning, and like the speaking, how they learn to speak, and you can start to see their brains, how they work. And once they start speaking and the negotiating, you see how they tick and their little personalities, and it's so cute. And then they negotiate and they feel so big. And a big part of this age is them starting to feel like they want this like newfound like assertiveness to come out. So you hear the no and and that's important developmentally, that they learn to assert themselves and say no and to choose. So the negotiating thing, how you handle that is you give them choice, but it's not free choice. It's not whatever you want goes. It's whatever's on the table. So maybe not just like, what do you want to do today? And then she's like, cool, I want to, if you're in Durban, go to Ushaka or to be up. Like, that she's made these extravagant choices for the day that may not be on the table.
Yeah.
It's you can say to, Anya, today we're going to do something cool. We're going to, whatever.
Stationery shop.
Yeah, we're
store.
going to this one or this one. So you have pre-decided.
We're going
and
to Woolworths or Pick and Pay.
That's
Which
it.
one do you want to
and
go
you
to?
can hype up those two boring options, but they're options that you
That
have
you're
decided
with.
on. So you
Absolutely.
pre-decide on their choices because, again,
It empowers her as well.
it's empowering them, but they don't have the wisdom to make these big decisions.
Because as a kid, you would. If you could spend every day at a shaka or a fun park,
Yeah.
you would.
Again, we're in the Dr. Seuss novel, like all the time, living at large, like living our best lives. Toddlers, like my kids, I tell the parents at school all the time, if I gave them choice to eat what they wanted to eat all the time, they would just eat rubbish.
Mac and cheese,
cake,
and
chips.
That's actually, I'm going to put a video onto this because the negotiation was her telling me how fries and like snack chips are the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And she went on for like 15 minutes, like explaining to me.
Yeah.
At every point I made, I was like, you need nutritional food before you have a snack.
No, she
like,
doesn't care.
This one makes me full. So I'm happy. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Your points are valid.
Yeah. 100% valid. But as the parent, you're like, cool.
So I gave in on that day. I will be honest. And then the next day it was beautiful because she came to me and she's actually, the messaging landed. And I think that's important as well. Because sometimes you want to break your head explaining to this tiny, cute person as to why they need to eat real food in this life. But I find like sometimes I'll speak my piece.
Yeah.
And then the message kind of lands at it. Like sometimes people
but
need to sleep on it as well.
It's the next day.
The next day she was like, do you have snack chips? I was like, yeah, I do. And she's like, can I have some after my dinner? And I was like, yeah, you can have some. You got it. You got it. I'm going to play it cool and I'm just going to make you a meal.
Yeah.
But
so
they get there.
Give them the choice, but you kind of have decided the choices before that are within the boundary of what you're happy with. So also don't give them choices that you're not happy with. Like don't say Ushaka and then they choose it and you're like, oh no, we can't go to Ushaka because then they're not going to trust you. And then you're also like lying to them.
Yes.
So, often it's even like in the negative sense when people use it as consequences, they'll say like, if you don't stop doing that, we're going home. And then you don't want to go home because you're at your friend's house for coffee. But now you've said we're going home and then they do the thing and you don't take them home. Then they're like, well, you don't mean what you say.
What you mean, what you say.
100%. So then they learn like, well, what you say doesn't actually mean anything.
Sometimes I do it, but my hand is like this.
She's like, don't take my blood.
I'm like, because I understand if I say it, I need to mean it. And I was like, do you want to go home?
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Then let's go home.
Yeah. So you have to be prepared to follow through. That is the biggest thing with tantrums, all of this stuff. Be consistent.
That's sort of
follow through all the time as far as possible. Sometimes you have to give in because you're at a wedding and she's going to ruin someone's vows,
Yeah.
Like you do have to pick your battle sometimes. And it's not my husband always says parenting is not a one-day game. It's a long-term thing. And
it is.
We like want to be perfect and we think like the world is telling us that like we have to get this so perfectly like right now. And I think like moms are like so anxious all of a sudden. Like it's definitely shifted in the last 14 years. I feel like maybe it's social media. It's made us so anxious that we're doing
so
things
much information
wrong all the time and that we're damaging our kids. I'm like, kids are the same. Kids are simple. Kids need love. They need boundaries. They need to play. They need family. They just, they need space to like grow. It's parenting that has changed.
I saw a thing that told me that we're not responsible for our kids' happiness. And that was wild to me because also as like an adult, when you get into relationships, you kind of come, our generation's like, how does this person make me happy?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what love is. Like, do they make me happy? Do they do this for me? Do they talk to me nicely? Do they take me to places that are exciting? And it's a bit toxic.
Yeah.
And I am pretty guilty of it. Like, I want to make her the happiest girl in the world. I thought that was my job until I saw that clip and I was like, wait, what? It's
Huh.
not my job to make her happy.
No.
So I love the laugh. Yes, it's a bit selfish. It feeds my soul a bit. Do I love going to a toy store so much? I and if it makes both of us happy, what's the harm? But the harm does come in when she's like, what present am I getting today?
Yeah.
So, and life is like expensive. It's like,
Yeah.
it's happening. So, a big part of our job is to let them experience levels of boredom and
Yeah.
how to regulate
Yeah.
their own emotions, I guess.
Yeah. And understanding that it's not just whatever you want all the time, because the world doesn't work like
Because
that.
it's also
Unfortunately.
exhausting. I've told, like, I'll tell you, I've been there.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe it was like you're the outsider watching all these moms come in and out, and if you can tell, overcompensating mom there. But I've been there. Like, I would go to the ends of the world to make that girl smile. It's crazy. And sometimes I feel like such a doormat. And in the same light, I'll like look at her dad and be like, don't spoil her. Like, we don't need to be her. But then on the other hand, I'm like,
do it as well.
I want a toy today.
Yeah, because we want to be.
Yeah.
I still want to be the cool parents
I
in
also
my house.
want
I'm
you
like,
to like love me the most.
yeah, 100%. And my husband gets home after a long day, and he's like, Dad. I'm like, oh, did nothing today. I drove her out all day. But you know, they actually. That's what I said. They're simple. They don't need like all this extravagant. They need like extravagant love. That's actually what they need. Like, and that doesn't mean stuff. It generally means time.
Being
But
present and time.
being present, and not just like time
Being
where you
present,
are.
not a present.
Yeah, and not just like spoiling them all the time. And you know, and I think routine helps. And this is like a big one for moms. I was like, when you were asking about how to balance like your life as well, like how do you have a life with a toddler? Like a big thing in there is for you, for moms, is also being able, well, moms in particular, is for you also to like have time. And that is where the routine stuff is important. And like,
Because that's how you can find the time without
Yeah.
dysregulating their life, like their little world.
yeah, for them to go to sleep at night so you can like read a book and chill. And then you are not doing a bad job if you have time alone from your kid and you're not at their beck and call every second of the day. Like, it's okay for them to play by themselves. Or, you know, I love watching moms sometimes, like with especially first time moms.
Like I lived on the mat for the last 3 years.
Yeah, and they like walk around. You just see them in the shops, and they like walking. They're like, look at this floor tile. This is such a nice tile. Look at these walls. Look at this. Oh, and did you see this? And look at the like. It's like everything is a teachable moment. It's okay. Just let your kid be, and just take a deep breath. They're gonna be fine. Like, you know, take a deep breath. Take some time for yourself. It's okay. Go out with your friends for dinner. It's okay to leave your kids with the grandparents or people you trust.
Yeah.
They'll be okay. You have to learn to do that. Go on a date night. And for the dads that listen to this, lead. Take your wives out.
Yeah.
Because they will say, no, my kid needs me. And they will, you know, I used to say,
or let's bring them, or she'd like, and I'm actually so guilty of this with the home. This is off our chat plan, but it's like I always let Anya's meals and like preferences dominate our household to the point where like there's pastas 3 times a week or like a shepherd's pie. And these are like, I'm down for a good like fish finger as well. But I don't like, where do you draw the line? Because her dad wants like some heartfelt homely foods that you're feeling for. And my mom, I come from the home where my mom used to die making 3 different meals to make the family happy, and she had 4 kids. And obviously that's my childhood trauma. I don't want to make 4 different meals. I'm eating fish fingers for dinner.
So again, within reason, like, so we always did until a year, like they eat whatever they need to be eating. And from a year onwards, as close as possible, they would eat what we were eating.
Okay, so we're at 3.
So less child-centered, and they eat what we eat within reason. So
obviously, like, I can't give her a level 10 curry.
No.
But
So on those nights, she would need her own,
like a mild curry.
Yes, or and I don't know, it would work in different households. So we meal plan. So we would sit at the beginning of each week.
She does love that.
Meal plan, and then, so everyone kind of gets a bit of a variety.
But meal plan at the beginning of each week. I need to just
Sunday check is 60-60. Woolies Dash is hot.
And she's gonna have so much fun with that, though.
Yeah, meal plan, but also like that. You can say,
but I need
Dad and I want to eat chicken, roast chicken. This is what we are having. No, so my kids they're older now. They're a bit more choice.
Yeah,
it's different in each household. You've got to do what works for your household, but
stop eating fish fingers for dinner.
I mean,
she's 3.
Yeah.
I don't even really like them, to be honest.
No,
they're expensive.
No, totally.
It's not even a good fish.
No.
Okay.
So, like, advice we got given when we even got married was like, you are the family, children follow. So, and they feel secure in that. They feel secure in that you are leading them. So, whatever we are doing, our children follow. So, if I'm eating roast chicken for dinner, you're eating roast chicken for dinner.
And if she doesn't?
If she doesn't, well, then we go into, and there's a tantrum, and then the whole timeout cycle begins.
Okay, cool.
The consequence and the boundary thing all comes in. So, well, we're eating this for dinner. If you don't want it, then whatever your consequence is. So in my house, it was then
timeouts.
Well, timeout will start there, or there's nothing else. So this is what you're having. And I knew my children were not going to die of hunger if they didn't eat dinner that night.
That is a confidence that you get later on in the game, though. So for new parents, I've seen it so many times where it's that song and dance, and I've done it too. So it's no judgment. But like, literally, she doesn't want this puree. Let me make this one. Or let me
we all did. The first time we all did.
Gosh, that's a stressful time. But they don't.
No,
like missing one meal, they'll have a big breakfast. And we kind of like that. I do that sometimes. Like,
you learn their resilience, especially as you have more, if you have more. But also speaking to, what helped me is finding older people that I like really looked up to, like the children that they raised. So I found some older, wiser ladies. Like, I really like your kids. They're normal humans, but that are great humans that I would like my children to be like. What did you do? And I would have coffee with them. I still have coffee with one of them every now and then.
Do you know what I love about what you just said? The friend that we chatted with yesterday, she said one of her like tips for like living is to get yourself a young friend. And she was like, and I was like, yeah, I never thought about that. And you're out here like saying, get yourself an older, wiser friend. So, and
perspective. It's perspective.
Because the people also in the parenthood journey, in that moment with you, and I'm noticing this with my girls, is it's kind of like, you good? Yeah, I'm good. Okay, cool. We should catch up sometime because I really want to hear about that thing that person did.
Yeah.
Like, get the story. But no one has the time or the energy. But older, wiser, and they're more than happy to share that knowledge with you.
Oh, man, they're out of it. So their perspective as they look back and they're
different.
Like, this sounds so dramatic to you, but actually it's fine. Your kids are going to be fine.
And like, even like get yourself a younger friend because they don't really care that you didn't sleep all night. They're like, me too. I was up looking at TikToks all night. And you're like, okay, so everyone's not sleeping. Yeah. We're fine.
It's different perspectives. It's
cool. Good. This chat was so fun. Before we go, cool. Well, thank you so much for coming in and having the chat. I had so much fun and I learned so much.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks.